this going here. All right, we're good there. Good there. Let me just go over here and fix this here real quick. Let's edit this real quick. Tight. All right, we'll just hang tight. We're going to get started in a minute. Bring Brother Taj in. We're going to send him the link. All right. All right, I think we're good. Let me get over the links there. We're going to get started. All right. Tight. Put this in here. See. All right. All right. Let me send it one more. All right. I think we are good. We are good to go. It's going to wait for Brother Taja to get here. We're going to get going. All right. I want to welcome everybody. We haven't done one of these. Taj is on his way. We'll get into some stuff. It's been a minute. We've been going with this show for a few months. So we're going to get back into it. Just have a little discussion tonight, talking about some things. And there'll be some good topics. All right. So what we got planned tonight in the description, since obviously last time we did a show, lot has transpired now. So what we try to do here on the Hip Hop Occult show is we try to infuse both aspects, because obviously when it comes to knowledge, consciousness, whether you want to call it the occult, I know for a lot of us, hip hop music and hip hop culture has played a large part in that. So what we talk about here also is how that's evolved and changed, obviously, for the good and the bad, right? In my opinion, just my opinion, more so for the bad. I know a lot of artists don't really call it out because obviously they have to protect themselves and their brand. I know some take a safe route in being honest about it, and I get it because it's their livelihood. But we don't have to, right? It's not our livelihood. I call it as I see it. Again, you don't have to agree with it. But in my opinion, I think it's changed for the bad. The culture has evolved and changed. There's an agenda. I do believe they promote that agenda. I do believe, and this is what a lot of the stuff we talk about here. I do believe that there is a purpose for that. Obviously, it's when you look at when hip hop first came on the scene. As I've always said, going years back, I believe it was a gift given to us, from the spirits, the ancestors, the elders, whatever you want to call it, to speed up our intellect. It instilled a lot of creativity, in the young youth. And I know it was very impactful on me growing up, especially in the 80s and the early 90s. It was huge. It was an outlet for us to express ourselves, pretty similar to what we do here on the Occult. It just seemed like that was our vessel or venue to get the truth, speak the truth. That's changed over time now. Just like anything, when the greedy powers that be see the financial potential in it, and they try to, monopolize it and turn it into something it's not. So it's drastically changed, right? One of the biggest issues, like I've talked about a lot, is you see the DJ being eliminated. This electronic DJ shit with a computer. A lot of us older heads. A lot of us older heads know what I'm talking about. Real DJs used to say two SP1200 turntables, and actually we're using the records to create the music, the samples, the scratches. Now all you gotta do is have a laptop and this computerized. It's not the same. And these are the things, in my opinion, that has not made it better. Because I'm just going to be honest with you, the average person with basic computer skills can pretty much DJ and press a few buttons and this, that, and the other. So there's just things about it that has changed. So we talk about those things here. What we're going to talk about today, if you follow the culture, a lot of old school artists, if you want to call them that. I like to call them pioneers. That's a better term. Or out making music again. People like Method Man, Redman, Wu-Tang Clan, Rakim's that new album just came out. We're going to talk about that. And some things that recently transpired with Method Redman as they were doing a Hot 97 Fest in New York. It's just things are changing, right? One individual I always encourage people to check out, like I love Jay Period. He does a lot of the mixtape tours, and he includes, in my opinion, some pioneer MCs on there like Black Thought, Yasin Bey, who you guys might know as Most Def. He's always incorporating Wu-Tang Clan. The stuff he has done with Rakim the last few years is phenomenal. So a lot of good things. Hold on, let me check on Taja. yeah, we're going to talk about those things. We'll talk a little bit about I really don't care to, but we will talk a little bit, even though it's not brand new news. The whole we're going to talk a little bit about the Drake, Kendrick, Lamar beef. There's a little more science behind that. I got my thoughts on that. I'll save that for when we get to it. And then we'll kind of go from there. So it's a lot of good new music out. I also went back recently, and I'm pretty big. It's crazy how you listen to certain albums over the years. Yeah, albums is an old school word. Nobody even uses that shit no more. Records, whatever you want to refer to it as. And you might have listened to an artist or a particular album from that artist that's been out for years. And sometimes I just go through these moods where an artist will pop in my head for whatever reason. I'm supposed to, go towards that and listen to it. So about a week ago, I was heavily going through Keith Murray's catalog. So I'll talk a little bit about that real quick too. We'll wait for Taja to get here. He should be here shortly. Hold on. So I was hard listening to Keith Murray's catalog about a week ago. And some of you may or may not know, obviously, in the last few years, Keith Murray's fell on hard times. There's been he's on his way in. He's fell on hard times the last couple of years. Obviously, it appears to be possibly some drug addiction. There was a video that surfaced. It was fucking pathetic. It kind of pissed me off. There was some lady that ran into him, and he looked like he was kind of high or a little bit not in his right frame of mind, and it belittled him. I mean, it's fucked up when people catch people in their low moments and they want to exploit them. Something like that for views. It appears she was out and about traveling. He had asked for some money, and she recognized him and said, "You're Keith Murray," and then she's like tried to play him like, "Oh, rap, and I'll give you some money." It just pissed me off because obviously you can see dude is not in his right frame of mind. If you remember, not too long ago, even maybe a year or two before that, he tried to battle Fredro Starr from Onyx. That didn't go well. You could tell he wasn't right. Now he recently just came out with a new single that you can pull up on any of the digital platforms. Hold on, let me go. I forgot to get the mic. Hold on one second. Just hook this mic up to give me better sound. Taja, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, I know 2 emails. That was the first email that popped up, so that's where I sent it.
Nah, that's all good. I was just trying to look because I got a few different ones.
Yeah, well, what I was telling you when I text you with the music, yeah, they'll bang you just for the music. Even if like I've had music in the background, it's not just a video.
Yo, that's
Yeah.
crazy, bro.
I'm telling you, they tighten up on all this shit. It's like they try to figure out ways to uh not get you to use any of that. It's stupid. It's not like you're using it to make money, really make money off of it. You're actually promoting their stuff. So yeah, it don't even matter if it's video or not. I've done videos like where I might have used background music in the when doing rituals and shit like that. Yeah, they'll send me a thing.
That means that they have not figured out a way to make billions off of it yet.
Nah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
When they do, it'll be in that thing where you have to accept all the stuff before you sign on to YouTube.
I just don't, like I said, they're trying all ways to figure out where you can't do anything to monetize your channel. So their thing is like, if your channel is monetized and you're making money off of it and you're using something that's copywritten.
Beniti, hold tight for 1 second.
Yeah.
1 second. I'm sorry.
All right, let's wait for him to come back.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, we good.
So see right here, like if don't use copyrighted music or any other content without permission. Hence, to avoid copyright infringement on YouTube live streams, you should only use content that you have created yourself or that is covered by a Creative Commons license that allows it for commercial use if you monetize. You see this shit? See, if your channel's not monetized, you can use, I guess you can use it. Now I don't know if you tried and you turned the monetization off, but I would have to find out about that. But it's just pain in the ass, hot fucking mess. But yeah, so what I was talking about, one thing, obviously I was telling people there's been a lot that's transpired since the last show. I know we're going to talk about Red and Meth. We've got, I'll also mention Rakim's new album dropped. I know we're going to also get a little bit into the Kendrick and Drake situation. I was talking about Keith Murray. I was recently, about a week ago, I get into these moods sometimes where I just, for whatever reason, get this urge to just go back and really indulge and listen to an artist. So I was going through his catalog hard last week. I listened to all his albums. I mean, and just anything I had in my on my Amazon Music app. And it blew me. It's amazing how you can listen to something over and over the years and just still go back and appreciate it and just catch shit you missed. And man, Keith Murray is. He just came out with a new single, by the way. I don't know if you noticed. He was talented, man. His flow was off the chain. His production, he fit right in there with the whole, Eric Sermon and the whole squad and all them, Meth, Redman, all those collabs he did. But I was telling the people, I know you noticed, recently, obviously, the last several years, he fell on hard times. You could tell there's been the alleged drug. Looks like he might be addicted or was addicted to some type of drugs. I remember a couple of years ago, I think we talked about on one previous show, a couple of years ago, he tried to battle Fredro Starr. That went horrible. You could pull up the live videos and see that he wasn't right. Something was wrong with him. But I don't know if you saw the recent video about several months ago that surfaced. He was looked like some lady was out and about traveling, and it looked like she was at some hotel or motel, and she runs into him, and he asks her for money. She recognizes him and says, "You're Keith Murray," and he says, "Yeah." And then she tries to clown him to get him to rap for a few dollars like some coon. I don't know if you saw that video, and it kind of pissed me off that somebody would try to exploit somebody. Obviously, the brother's going through some shit. You can tell. And that video kind of irked me the wrong way because I'm like, Really? It's like asking you, you're gonna expose dude like that. I mean, where would some people just will cross the line. So it's just seeing he just released some new material. I don't know if you heard it. It's actually pretty good. So I don't know. Long story short, I don't know if he's coming out of his situation. I hope he is. But I don't know if you saw it, Taj, or your thoughts on the Keith Murray situation.
No, I did not see the video. But I mean, I have the utmost respect for Keith Murray as an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Me
Like,
too.
again, fits right into that thing we always talk about where everybody has their own lane. Like, Keith Murray, he's that dude. He just created his own lane, and there's nobody that sounded like him then or now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that guy. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
what more can I say? I didn't hear anything about all the controversy, whatever. But as far as him as an artist, like that's my dude.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, like I say, anybody can pull up on YouTube. Just Google Keith Murray in the battle with Fredro Starr. Watch what happens. I mean, you can look at Keith and see he's on something. Something's wrong. It's obvious. Everybody recognizes it. You can read in the comment box. He can get going. You'll see he gets frustrated. He winds up walking out of the battle. Actually, to me, I mean, not a huge Fredro Starr fan. I was an Onyx fan. Okay. I mean, Fredro Starr is not a bad MC, but he just, I mean, he torched him. I just got to be honest, and I don't think he torched him because he was better than him. I just don't think Keith Murray at that moment was ready for that type of battle. You could just see dude wasn't right mentally. So I would encourage people to look that up. You can Google the video, I'm sure, with the lady. If anybody can't find it, send me an email. I'll send it to them. And like you said, Taza, hold on. I think your partner's coming in. Like I said, Taja, nobody can deny what he contributed, to the music. It kind of pisses me off that somebody would try at one of his lowest moments. And in the video, you can see he's not right again. Looks like he's on something. And for that woman to sit there and try to get him to rap for money, it just fucking was degrading, And he didn't do it. He didn't do it, bro. I'm glad he didn't, because he was looking at her like, yo, what the fuck kind of shit is this? You catch somebody down on their luck, in a bad moment in their life. And obviously he was just looking for a couple of hours for whatever. Probably not for the best things, but to just put that shit on video for views. And I get it. It's the day and time we live in. Nobody gives a fuck. I get it. And anybody will do anything with this social media shit now for views because nobody really gives a shit. I get it.
Well, it's the whole mentality of like, where people, some old lady getting beat up in the street by a young boy, you know what I'm saying? And everybody got their cameras out, but nobody's calling the cops. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's welcome in your partner. This one, can you hear us? Yeah, we can't hear you, bro. You're going to have to unmute your mic.
Bottom of the screen. Touch your screen at the bottom of the screen. Hit unmute.
Yeah, your mic is mute. I think I might be able to do it. Hold on. No, I can't. There you go. Say something. It should be unmuted. It's unmuted. I still don't hear him, though. Hold on. Nah, I can't do anything. Here's something. He's unmuted, but we still can't hear him. Maybe he got headphones. It could be the headphones. I'm not sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. We can hear you.
Okay, yeah. It's so many settings with these.
No, I can tell.
Microphones right here.
Yeah, and plus you in the lab there with all that equipment, so I can only imagine.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
All right, so I just wanted to welcome you in. We saw you pop in. Thanks for joining us. Hey, feel free to jump in at any time, man.
I'm and I was agreeing exactly. That's where I was going to go. Was where Taza was going with the fact that you could be on the bus and a pregnant woman get smacked around. Ain't nobody gonna help. They're gonna pull their phones out.
It's sad. Did you see the video? This one? Are you familiar with that Keith Murray video with the lady?
No, I heard about it, but I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. Only because I seen other videos of I seen the one video of Keith Murray where they caught him in the street,
Right.
walking around. You know what I mean? Zoned out. So, all the stuff that just to glorify his downfall. I don't want to be messing with it. You know what I mean?
Nah, exactly. And like me and Taja was saying, regardless of the fact, shit happens, people go through shit in their life. It doesn't change what Keith Murray has contributed to the culture.
Right? Yeah, Keith is a beast.
A monster. He just put out some new stuff. So I hope he's
That's
on
what
the
I'm
up and up.
saying. That's what I'm saying. I heard some of the newer stuff, and some of the stuff, I heard a track that sounds like the classic Keith Murray.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm hoping he's on the up and up and coming back from whatever he was up to. And then the last thing, because I know you came in late, and then we'll kind of move on. He was also, I don't know if you saw, I think it was about a year or so ago when he tried to battle Fredro Starr. That didn't go too well. That was horrible, man.
That alone, because Fredro Starr is not a battle MC.
Me too. That's what I was just talking about. That. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just that alone right there just doesn't equal up.
But you could see in the video he wasn't right. I mean, it was just it was obvious. He just looked like he was messed up. He was on something. He couldn't even get flowing, and that's not Keith Murray. I agree. Keith Murray would have tore him up if
that's
Keith
what
Murray
I'm saying, and that's why Fredro battled him then.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He wouldn't battle the classic Keith Murray.
Nah,
you know what I mean. So
So yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, shout out to Keith. Hopefully he's on the up and up. Wish him nothing but the best. And regardless of what happens, it doesn't change.
Exactly. He still got A1 respect from me. You know what I mean?
100%. So Taja, since you're here, man, I know you put this show together, so you kind of dictate. I was just kind of building with the folks until you got here. So you tell me where you want to go next, and we'll flow with it from there, bro.
Nah, bro. I mean, so as far as the show itself, we usually do the music thing, so that was kind of like a little bit of a surprise that we can't do music. But I think let's get into a discussion, man. Red and Meth. That's the whole discussion, man. With Red and Meth.
I already told you about that. The dynamic duo. You can't put two MCs together like that. You know what I mean? To come from different camps. There's no two other MCs that was put together like that. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying group, because we could go with our with our Mob Deeps and you know what I mean, our EPMDs when we talk about groups. But as far as putting MCs together like that, nothing connects like Red Meth.
100%.
Yeah.
And just everybody in the chat, I see your questions. We're going to get to them, so just keep putting them in there. So there's some good questions. Just keep popping them in there. We'll go back, and then we're going to run through your questions. We'll pause every now and then and take some of your questions. Some good stuff in the comments. But I agree. The thing that pissed me off was at Hot 97 Fest. And again, I was saying before you guys came on, look, what we try to do on this show is show you the history of the culture, how it's evolved and changed for the good and the bad. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, it's just my opinion. There's some good there, but there's a lot more bad. I got a lot of issues, what's been going on the last 10 or 15 years. Not to sound like some grumpy old head complaining, but when you come from an era like we come from, where it was a culture, it was a way of life. Like I got issues with where the DJing thing is gone. Now anybody can grab a computer and some fucking electronic gadgets. Nobody uses SP1200s no more. There's no real DJing. All that shit is gone, man.
Yep.
But on the Red and Meth topic, it's what happened with them at Hot 97 Fest is an embarrassment to hip hop culture. I know it's a younger audience now, and they hit it on the head. The Hot 97 Fest, I remember going to it when it first started. It's not what it used to be. Now, It's fucked up because even in New York now, this mumble rap shit, a lot of the new youth coming up, this is the shit they want to listen to. And like Meth said, it was the wrong crowd, right? So I don't know what you guys' thoughts on that whole thing that went down at Hot 97 Fest. I guess we can talk about that and whatever else you wanted to talk about,
You
I
really
mean, I feel like it's like, you know, I think just the new generation has a different take on hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, I was really like surprised by the whole, and I do not remember the young boy's name, the NBA player that was, you know, saying that Future was better than Nas, and he was wearing a Future T-shirt on the court,
Wasn't
stuff
that one
like
of the
that.
Ball brothers? Wasn't that one of the Ball brothers? If I'm not mistaken.
well, Lorenzo Ball, one of them, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was one of those dudes. Yeah,
Yeah.
But
But
that's controversy though.
yeah, but it's a testament to the fact that the younger generation as a whole. I'm not speaking about, you know, the intricacies of everybody, but the younger generation as a whole just doesn't really understand where the shit came from. And I think that was like, not to get into controversy, but I think that was like the whole plan, like to separate this generation from where we were when we were their age. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, hip hop was trying to be infiltrated from day one. You know what I mean? From its existence. So, you know, like they always say, it's bound to have. Look at it. We came from the era of MC Light, and today they got Sexy Red. So what does that tell you? You see what I'm saying? So it's and it's not everybody. That's the wild part, because
Correct.
you know when you listen to your Sirius XMs, you still got your nights where you know where Tony Touch is doing his thing, where you know what I mean. So we still got it's still there. It's just you're not gonna find it on your Power 99s and things like that. You know what I mean? We gotta search for it, but it's there. Hip hop is still alive. It's just rap music right now is doing what it's doing. And but you look at you still look at the fact of, you know, you got your Rakims dropping albums right now. You know, you got your classic MCs that still you got Jeff and Common dropping the album. You know what I mean? So just as much as we got the bullshit that's infiltrating the hip hop, is just as well as we still got classic hip hop that still exists. You know what I mean? You know,
I love what Jay Period does with the whole mixtape thing with Black Thought. He got a new one that just came out with Yasin Bey and Black Thought with Most Def.
Okay, you know, yeah, I ain't hear Jake Period name in 10 years.
Nah, he's been doing some shit out. He's been doing he's calling it the Picnic Tour. He did some shit in Philly. He just came out with a couple of new live joints. That's the shit that I miss, man. That type of stuff. But to the Red and Meth thing, to boo those guys shows you who was in the crowd.
Exactly.
I mean, to have the audacity to boo Meth and Redman shows you that had to be a millennial crowd.
Yes, it had to
be. And so that's my point, is that, you know, they are not educated on the history of hip hop or have any respect for it. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that bothers me about now, is like the music is just like it, and it's supposed to do this. It's supposed to take its own form. It's supposed to be like a plant, right? And the plant is going to grow. It's going to put roots wherever, and it's going to go wherever the DNA says it's supposed to go. You know what I mean? So we can't stop that in hip hop itself. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, you know, understanding where it came from. We're standing at the roots. We're standing at the ground level. You know what I mean? Where the grain is, and watching the roots go down and what sprouts from it. We are at that perspective of our age group to be able to do that. But these other kids are further up, and all they see is the branches and the flowers, and you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And they don't care about that other stuff.
No, they don't.
It's sad, man. Like I said, you know, when you look at even, and we'll talk about that. We'll get to that a little bit later. Though I know we didn't really mention that. Even what happened, that's going to be interesting thoughts on the situation with Busta Rhymes at the Essence Festival.
That's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
But I agree 100%. But I think Busta put himself in a corner. Now, look, we all know Busta has Jamaican roots, but I think what's happening there, they're kind of trying to cancel him because he had made some statements that African Americans don't have culture, and he was making statements because he's trying. Look, I can go back, and some of you guys might remember this. I remember there was a time. Look, Busta's. I grew up with a lot of cats in New York that were Jamaican, but born in America, so they were American Jamaicans like Busta. Actually, Busta grew up 15 minutes from where I grew up, and I remember after he left Leaders and when he was kind of hot on the solo tip, he tried to do shows at Jamaican clubs in New York. He even went over to Jamaica, had bottles thrown at him. They weren't embracing him. So now I see like and I got no problem with it, but I think what he said, it kind of got misconstrued. Like he was trying to alienate African Americans from culture. I think what he was saying was more so that we need to be more cultural about what we do. I don't think he was alienated, but they took it wrong. And that shit
I also think that when that statement was directed towards the youth,
correct,
more so than anything else, because any other culture of music, they embrace their culture of music.
100%.
And you never hear you never. Dolly Parton can go on any country show and still get the same love she got from when she was doing what she was doing.
100%.
Madonna can go and do a pop show wherever, and she'll get the same respect. You know what I mean? So, and with any culture of music, any genre, the level of respect stays there. It's just our culture of music that was directed to. So we would know who he was directing his message towards, and probably not take it the same way. But that's anger. That's the look what I did for the
Yep.
Look what he did for the culture of hip hop.
Yep.
You know what I mean? To get it to the point to where it is now, and the culture that I built is going to turn around and disrespect me like that. You know 100%. What I mean? So I understand his anger. It's like you said, but hey, so it's just like anybody else. He probably should have had somebody write a statement for him.
So this your brother's thoughts. You get your brother's thoughts on this. So saying this with Meth and Red and something similar, not quite the same, that went down with Busta. So now that we see a lot of these pioneer, I don't like to call them old school rappers because that does them a disjustice. I like to call them pioneers. So seeing a lot of these pioneer rappers now, because all of them, like there's a YouTube channel, New York's Finest, and they're putting shit out. I mean, you got Meth, you got Red, all the artists from Wu-Tang, you got Rakim, you got Nas, J. Cole. They're putting phenomenal mixes and music on there. So with a lot of these iconic pioneer rappers and some of these current there, so what is the solution then? Because obviously, unfortunately, it wasn't like back in the day where hip hop had, you had the West Coast vibe, you might have had the Deep South, the Midwest, East Coast, and it was very noticeable. But even though, like, depending on where you were geographically back then, you may not have felt everybody's music, but it was clear and distinctive what they were being marketed as. Now we see, though, a lot of the new artists, don't matter where you're from, everybody seems to be on this new trap, mumble rap vibe. So how do we market this? Like, how can my question is this, and I can't really call that stuff hip hop, I'm sorry.
Nah.
It's just my opinion. And I think rap and hip hop is two different things, just like a rapper and an MC are two different things.
Two different.
So how do we bridge this? Like, how do we, and you described it, this one, it's still there. Like you put it in the context, but I'm saying, how does the music now go forward in the future? Because the average newer person coming in who's not, like Taj just said, is not educated on the history of their culture or don't know, they're thinking this new shit, that's what rap is, and like kind of like some of these pioneer groups and artists like Red and Meth, like that's my grandfather's music. So, and like you said, this one, you don't see that in other genres. You don't see that. Like Dolly Parton, you hit it on the head. She was huge in the 70s and 80s. She can perform in 2024, and there's no difference. So how do we get, what I'm saying is to what you said, you brothers' thoughts on how do we get it to that point? Or can we?
I mean, my thing is like, can we I think we can, but will we is a whole nother thing. I think like the whole you familiar with the whole Punjab thing, the whole Punjab rapper thing?
No. Go ahead, break it down. Maybe I know it
All
as
right,
something else.
so on social, like 3, 4, 6 months ago, there was a post of this dude in India doing this freestyle over this beat. The flow was fucking fire. It was fire. You know what I mean? Obviously, you have no idea what he's talking about, but it was fire, right? And you know, it got like I don't know how many million or views and likes and all this shit. And you know, it's just like, but when you have like that root of basic hip hop shit, it doesn't matter what language you're talking. It doesn't matter what, you know, how you layer it, how you lay it out, how you form it. You know what I'm saying? Like when it has that thing about it, like people are going to love it no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing I'm getting at. Like that whole thing from India, like I'm really tuned in on it because I think they really I think it's like their birth of hip hop over there. You know what I'm saying? Like they really are now starting to discover hip hop and be like, yo, damn, these beats are fire. You know what I mean? We could do blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I don't even know, you know, I have no idea how it all, I would be fascinated to find out how it all took place to be like, you know what I mean? Like
young boy, that chunky, kind of heavy set looking young boy. I saw one video. He was rapping and it might have been Urdu or one of them artists.
he had like a little, if I believe, if I'm correct, he had like a little jacket on and light beard, light mustache.
I saw that. Okay. Yep.
Dark hair.
Yep. But
I got an artist I've been working with for 10 years now. He's from Morocco.
Okay.
And he only raps in his language. You know what I mean? Actually, in my booth, I had to put a screen in the booth because we kept running into punching problems. So, you know what I mean? So now it's just he know numbers, I know numbers. What number are we punching in on? 24. Okay, good. You know what I mean? But for the past 10 years, he's only been doing, you know, hip hop in his language. But to get back to what it's not going to be us. We can preach this to the end of time.
100%.
It's not going to be us. It has to be the younger generation to 100%. Accept it. We can't force. It's like anything else. It's like trying to force a young boy to stand on the curbside of his girl, or to open the door for you know, hold the door open for an elderly person coming inside of Wawa's. We could try to preach that to the end of time, but it's not going to be us. It's them, because we could take, you could take a Lil Uzi Vert type MC and though J. Cole, or you know, or we can go back further than that. You know, you could take that person and throw a Nas or Jay-Z on their song. What's to say that lyrically we're going to get that respect factor, right? You know what I mean? Because he's a legend, it'll probably happen, but you might still get the fact of, nah, but so and so, you know, yo, he killed that beat, ain't do nothing but put Jay on there and he messed it up. Right. We'll get that, because it's not, you know, what we got to remember too is when we talk about mumble rap, words are no longer important. Correct. That mumble shit almost plays as a note inside of what's going on. Yep. You know what I mean? So they don't give a rat's ass about what's being said. It's about what keeps that, you know, we live in that society to where 4 bars is all that really matter. Correct. You know what I mean? Because think about it. We can talk about the trap and all that, but trap, you can associate trap with EDM. You can associate EDM with house. You can associate house with disco. So all the stuff that they call themselves what they doing now, it had already been done You know what I mean? It's all a cycle, and of course, Future is going to be considered an old MC probably about another 2 years. You see what I'm saying? So it's not. I don't think it's going to be us. I think that's the reason why we have our Sirius XMs and certain things like that, and like you said, New York's finest, because we have to show that homage, to the MCs. I forget who they said it was. Who was it? Jadakiss, where whatchamacallit got out of jail. Jadakiss blessed.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. Gave him money. Yeah, I saw that.
You see what I'm saying? But that's where when you got people within the culture that takes care of the culture.
Correct.
You know what I mean? We're not gonna have it. You know what I mean? It's gotta. We still gotta exist within this realm,
right?
And take care of those who came before us. You know what I mean?
And on that note, I just realized I need to give an introduction. This one is my partner from goddamn I don't know how long ago. My brother from another mother.
No doubt.
One of my mentors, you know what I'm saying, from the early days, you know what I mean, when I first not when I picked up a mic, well probably when I picked up some equipment and started deciding to try to produce beats. I think that's when we met. You know what I mean? And I'm talking like I was like 17, 18. So that's why he's on here, y'all. You know, he is official as far as hip-hop is concerned. Like, this is one of the dudes that, if I had to like say who's your top 5 and really be critical about who the hell I was talking to, he'd be that guy. He'd be one of those dudes in that corner. So I didn't give him a proper introduction. So that's that. There you go.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I can tell by listening to him, Bill.
Number love.
Yeah. But on that note, though, so I hear all that. But check. So then, how do we explain something like this? Taj, if you remember, we did a show a little while back. Remember, we were talking about the situation where Big Daddy Kane was on tour. They had lost his luggage. He was doing a show, and it was either somewhere in Russia. It was Moscow or somewhere. And he was so pressed for time, he wound up having to buy some gear in the airport, like, in the stores in the airport, because that's how critical it got. So you can pull up the footage of this. He's performing at this place in Russia. Now, here's my question. As we know, we look at hip hop. It could be Russia. It could be Japan. It could be China. It could be India. And if I'm wrong, correct me. It seems like they've got even the youth there. I'm not just
got
talking
more
about
respect for the culture. I know where you're going with it.
For the culture. If you look at, and I'm saying, if you go look at that video of Kane performing and you look in the crowd, there's a lot of young folks there, and they're breakdancing, right? They're locking, they're popping, and they know every word to Kane's song.
But here's the thing. So I hate to say it, but I feel like other cultures outside of the United States spend more time actually studying and doing research on things.
Yeah,
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when they love something, they research it.
Yep.
We don't do that. We love something and we just love it, and we just stupid. And and if you listen to the music, like, stupid about it, like, it's stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like, it's like zombies dancing to fucking vibrations. Like, you can't fucking make it up.
But it's also because it's the same way as if you pass a car down to a younger person versus the younger person buying the car. If they buy into it, they take care of it.
Correct.
We gave this generation coming up, we gave them hip hop. Everything that's being done, they didn't go through the struggles of having to go to the radio station with a bottle of champagne. And
nah, but this they didn't have to.
But that's
It
what
didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Like it was out of our control as people who were here since the birth. You know what I'm saying? It was out of our control. It was a big business and industry that was like, yeah, okay, yep.
But speaking on what this one said, we talked about that, Taja. Back in the day, to shop a demo, you'd have to walk into 4th and Broadway, Profile Records, Def Jam, CBS, Columbia. You'd have to. I remember back in the day, me and my boy, we'd literally go to Manhattan and literally just walk in with a tape and a package. You can't do that shit no more.
Can't do it.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. That's where you get is at. You can wake up now and go, I'm gonna put an album out today.
Right, because social media, YouTube,
social media,
Instagram. You got to remember, we didn't have the luxury of digital platforms.
Exactly.
Which brings up another thing, and I always look at what just recently transpired with De La Soul. How the loopholes, because a lot of these dudes ain't getting no residuals and money, because when they had their contracts and their music, there was nothing in there to cover digital platforms. But what De La Soul did was genius. They waited it the fuck out till that expired, where now they own their whole catalog. Because I was listening to Paz News say how they were just trying to throw them pennies, so a couple $1 million, and they were like, no, fuck that. So what I'm saying, that all of this now, like, and this one hit it on the head. You can get up tomorrow and in your mind be a YouTube star and put out a whole album. So I'm saying that, reason why I point that out to what you were saying, Taj, and what this one was saying. So is this where the lack of education comes in, or are some of us in this country lazy, where we just see what the fuck we see on, I know a lot of people are addicted to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Look, we're on those platforms right now. Like I've always said, it's a double-edged sword. This could be used to teach and educate. It can also be used for ignorance and other bullshit, right? So where's that gap, Taja, is what I'm saying. So can we change the fact? Now, is it up to us as elders to maybe do some of that educating? But like this one said, you could preach this shit till you're blue in the face. So what I'm trying to get at is, what methods can we use to maybe get them interested on their own? Or is it a lost cause? That's what I'm trying to say.
Damn. I don't know. I think like regular people will call me a pessimist, bro. Like, I think it has to play out however it's going to play out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't think like, I think if we're inspired to come up with ideas to change the trajectory.
I got you, brother. I got you.
If we're inspired to do that, then I think that there's a chance for us to do that. You know what I'm saying? But if not, then I think it's supposed to play out how it's supposed to play out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that, you know, and I keep referring back to this. I think we probably visited this like 1 or 2 times. Like, I told you, Rakim was like, hip hop is supposed to evolve. And he was like, I may not like the direction that it's evolving in. He was like, but it's supposed to evolve. And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that it's still here.
That's the God.
The fact that it's even still here is what's important. You know what I mean?
God's going to always come with wisdom, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. No doubt.
He's going to come with the wisdom. But I think something this one said, that to me is one of the methods. If you see like a lot of these new artists and they're doing a collab with one of these pioneers, that might open them up and say, oh, who's this? You know, Nas is doing a cameo on one. And then that might spark them to maybe, you know, oh, let me look further into Nas. It's crazy thinking in this day and time, like somebody to us, because we've been around, like nobody's like some of these younger, they don't know who Nas is. Crazy to think that.
But the thing is that we're fighting against the machine. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are fighting against the literal machine of money generation. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like people are going to stay focused on the roots of where the shit came from and how beautiful it is. Like, they're not going to create. I mean, no, I'm not going to say they're not going to create. We might create a hip hop museum on the fucking banks of the Delaware River someday or the Hudson River someday. But the point I'm trying to make is that they're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to flow where it's going to flow, and we got to accept that it's going to flow where it's going to flow. And there's going to be something beautiful that comes from it. Don't forget that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was so opposed and fucking blocked off the trap music. And then I started listening to it, and I started hearing, like, that's kind of dope, and that's kind of dope, and that's kind of dope how they, you know what I mean? And so I incorporated now into my beats, like, yeah, I can, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm feeling that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, you know, it's going to evolve where it's going to go. And I think that Rakim being a god, like, that's something he said that really stuck with me. Like, it's going to go, it's going to evolve, it has to. Everything has to.
Well, I think that's what you're saying is what he's saying. He's putting it in that way. It's got to play. It's got to play out. And
Yeah,
what
exactly.
the reality is, there's going to be good and bad to that. And that's
Yeah.
that's my point. The reality is, this will never ever be at a point again where we'll wake up and be go, oh, everything's good in the hip hop world and community. It's just, it's not going to happen. So I do agree with your perspective that we got to let this play out. But I also think, you know, there has to be some education there, and then, you know, we're entitled to our opinions to a degree, not to the point where we're bashing each other. Because one thing, like we talked about on the previous show, I think, you know, and I think it was Kane that said it when he did that interview on Drink Champs, which was an awesome interview. Because Kane told it like it was, and a lot of things he was saying, I think, were on point. Even with the performances now, like Kane, even Busta said it at the Essence Festival. Like, I come from a generation where people were involved in the performance. Now they're more focused on filming the shit.
Yeah, they ain't even watching it.
It's like, remember when we went to a concert, we were dancing, singing,
Mhm.
we were involved in the show.
Yeah.
They ain't involved in the show no more.
Not no more.
It's crazy, but Kane said something that, you know, in regards to like the generation gap. You know, he was talking about, like, the most important thing is, like, the elders need to be elders to the youth, and then the youth also need to not write off all the elders as old heads.
Right.
So in a sense, what he was saying, kind of, yeah, we both kind of need each other, because, you know, it's not about bashing. Now, look, I'm very critical of this new rap. I'm sorry, it's just hard for me. I can't be fake about it. But that's just me, and I'm not telling anybody to accept my opinion and my perspective. But I do understand where Kane was coming from. We all kind of got to be able to understand each other. And like I said, I do believe the youth need the elders, and then the elders do need to be a little more tolerant and respectful of the youth, because, like, we can't hold them accountable for what they don't know, and they're coming into a system now that we weren't up against. It's completely different, man.
Yes, it is.
So it's fucking crazy. But I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to add on the Meth Redman thing, or Buster, or is there something else you guys want to move on to?
Only thing with as far as that is as long as there's showcases, you know, where we got people like
I
Redman.
keep kicking myself out, bro. I'm sorry.
I got you back. You good.
Yeah, as long as we got these showcases where, you know, like the show that happened with you know, with Wu and you know, and Nas was on it, and because Meth wasn't there, you know, Buster was there. You know what I mean? As long as you got that type of thing still going on,
Keeps it alive.
yeah, it'll keep it alive. You know what I mean? But that's just what it's got to be. It's and as long as classic MCs are you know, putting out material and we support it,
100%.
what is there to say? And you know, like we know, one thing that you cannot find a soul that's buying music. Nobody buys music.
No, not with digital platforms.
Yeah, not with digital platforms. So as far as the economics of it, it's all in the streaming. You know what I mean? So as long as they're putting out something and we listening, they're living. You know what I mean? You can't ask somebody to buy something when Ain't nobody buying nothing. You know what I mean?
100%.
So it's just that alone. It's just we could keep the culture alive. You know what I mean? The classic culture. We could keep the Dougie Freshes and the Slick Ricks alive and things of that nature. You know, the Kid and Plays and stuff like that. If they doing something, if they got a show, go see it. If they putting something out,
100%.
let's listen to it.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And one thing I noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed this shit. It's like all these, you look at Meth, you look at Redman, you look at Dougie Fresh. It's like these dudes are aging like fine wine. And I don't know if it's energy. I mean, they just look like a slightly more mature version of themselves. I mean, Meth looks phenomenal. Redman looks phenomenal.
Right.
I've seen Dougie Fresh perform as recent as a year ago. He looks like he's aging like phenomenal.
Right. Exactly.
So I think it's the energy too, from a spiritual perspective. I think we were tapped into a different energy. I'm not saying any rapper from that era didn't age bad, but I'm saying a lot of these iconic artists, I think a lot of that is the energy they carry, because one thing we've talked about a lot on this show is one thing we were blessed with back then was there was every rapper had their own, every MC, every group had their own style, and it was distinct. You knew who it was. Mm-hmm. You know, you had Tribe Called Quest. They were dropping conscious joints. Brand Nubian. You had Rakim. You had rappers.
Public Enemy.
Yeah, Heavy D, Kid and Play, Big Daddy Kane. Now, Big Daddy Kane was unique to me because he was like, he could get the crowd going. He was party, but he could drop some jewels. Mm-hmm. And that, like, Rakim and Kane are my two favorite MCs.
No doubt. Okay.
And I think Kane, he had that fluidity where he could be that, get the party hype, you know, the dance craze thing that was going on back then during that time in the 90s, where Kane could drop some jewels.
Yep.
You know? So we don't, that's what I'm saying, is like we don't really have that now.
No, because everybody sounded like today.
Everybody sounded like. Everybody's the ippity dippity do.
But that's because they latching on to whatever's, you know, whatever's popular, you got to stick with it. And
the biting shit does not apply anymore.
Yeah, ain't no such thing as biting now. Yeah.
Remember that?
That shit is null and void, bro.
Nowadays, you would get torched for that shit back in the day.
Null and void. Listen, that shit would wipe out half the fucking rappers on the chart right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you couldn't bite back then. If you bit, you would get called out on that shit.
But now you got MCs using other MCs' lines.
And you couldn't do that shit back in the day.
Do that, you know what I mean? Like they said, they asked one dude, they said, "What do you feel about Drake?" He said, "Who, the rapper or the whole crew that's called Drake?" He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Because you got 7 writers and you got the one guy right along with him that's part of them that's called Drake."
Wow.
You know what I mean? But I mean that just
in the 80s, in the 80s and 90s, you never heard of somebody like, "Oh, I'm Baby, I'm the Baby, I'm Lil Baby."
Yeah.
Like, you never heard of that shit.
On that shit.
Yeah, motherfucker call himself Baby. Yeah, back then, you know, there was
Little Boo Boo. I can't keep up with the little baby, little Goo Goo. I just can't keep up with it. But look, it takes me to another thing. So let's move on. I want to talk about real quick Rakim's album. Thoughts on this? A lot of favorable reviews, but I saw a DJ Academics trashed it. I don't know if you guys saw his review.
Academics
he's whack as hell to me.
Yeah, exactly. He's a dude who likes controversy.
Right. How can you say and Rakim, from what he has said, he produced the beats. Now again, I listened to it where I see what Rakim has been trying to do. He's got that classic sound, but he's trying to more modernize it. I love the beats and the samples on. Maybe it's me being biased, but again, I'm biased when it comes to Rakim. I'm not gonna lie. But to listen to, and I never cared for Academics anyway. I think he's crap. But to listen to how he had the audacity to trash, he trashed it from front to back. And I'm just like, he's really the only one that I saw give a horrible review of it. My only criticism of the Rakim album, because you know Ra's not been the dude to do a lot of collabs on his album and have a lot of
it's just every song,
Every song. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Jadakiss's feature. I loved all the features on there. I just don't think there was enough of Rakim on the album.
No,
That's
it
my only
wasn't.
problem.
It wasn't, and that's my problem with the album. Was you look and you see 9 names on the song,
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh my god, when am I gonna get to just a Rakim song?
it
What I
wasn't.
mean?
It
Yeah,
didn't exist.
and remember from day one, the whole thing was Rakim was producing stuff back then when the first album dropped.
Correct.
You know what I mean? We still tossed up between was it him or Marley to do.
Well, yeah, he's even spoken on that. He's kind of thrown it under the rug. Yeah, I did this and that, though I wasn't on the credits. But yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
So now we know that at least it's showing. We know now that the skill of production on his end is there. You know what I mean? Exactly. So no, it's like you said. I think it's a good album. It's just I didn't like the fact of you seeing 7 names on each song.
100%.
And I'm like, well, damn. It's cool to give DMX and Nipsey and all them love, but I was looking for a Rakim album, not a Rakim collaboration album.
And that's basically what it was. And then when Rod did drop some verses for the brief moments on the tracks, like I was left wanting more.
Yep.
And I'm like, shit, he just dropped one couple bars. And then I don't know what the thought process was behind it. I mean, production wise, I respect it. I mean, like, again, I'm a biased Rakim fan. That's like my idol and shit. So, I mean, anything he does, I'm going to be there. I'm going to listen, And it's crazy because, and you guys probably didn't mention this, shortly after the album comes out, then I see the news break that Chino XL.
That Chino XL pass. Yeah, right after that feature.
Crazy, man.
Yep.
And I thought one of his features on there, I thought that shit was fire, the one he did on there. So, yeah, rest in power to Chino XL. 53 years old. That's how old I am. So I can relate to that shit, man. And it's just, don't know the cause of death like most of these. And maybe they got their reasons. They keep it private, kind of like Guru. I guess I don't think Guru wanted anybody to really know. And I respect that, So I think Chino was dealing with something we just didn't know.
Yeah.
But we got to mention that. He's a pioneer. Shout out to Chino XL. Rest in power.
Amen.
Condolences to his family. But yeah, I agree. So your thoughts, Taja? Did you get a chance to listen to the whole Rakim album?
I didn't, but Rakim is my dude, bro. Like,
yeah,
I think that any chance that the world gets to hear him, man, like it's a benefit to us. You know what I'm saying? It's a gift to us. That's all.
Listen, man. 2 years ago, he came down here. My birthday's June 10th, and I told you. And he was performing here at Munchie's in Fort Lauderdale. And I got the whole VIP thing and got a chance to meet him and talk to him. I was like a little kid in a fucking candy store, bro. I hadn't seen him perform. Oh, no. I did see him on the Legends of Hip Hop tour. He came down. That was in 2017. That was he was on that. It was Dougie Fresh. Das Effects performed. And Das Effects DJ tore that shit up. He came out there with the SP12s. He did a whole piece set. They gave him a whole about 6, 7 or 8 minute set. And the shit he did blew my mind, was phenomenal. But outside of that performance, I see Rakim in 2017 and then 2022. 23 last year. I hadn't seen him perform probably since the 90s.
Yeah.
And, I was like a little kid in the fucking candy store. I had the best time. I had a time like that, and I don't know how long. And the crazy thing about it is, I mean, the crowd was right. It was the right venue. And, man, he was on there till about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and nobody, not one person was not engaged in that. I mean, it's just when you at a show like that and the energy, everything is in sync. And Rakim can just stand up there. It's not like Rakim has the most, he'll have a vainglorious show.
Yeah, he can stand there. We'll say the rhymes.
Right, exactly. The music is so powerful that everybody's so into the music. Because Rakim, I mean, he just come out there. He basically stand out there, hype the crowd up, do what he do. And it was just phenomenal, man. And see that, I guess I hold on to those vibes. I'm like, to me, that's what it was about. And it's just, it's gone.
Well, what I think what should have happened was he should have had MCs of his caliber, like when he did this, like song with Jewel Ortiz, right?
Yeah.
we can respect Joe Ortiz on there because we know the caliber MC that he is.
Correct.
So if the MCs that were featured on there were that lyrical is as lyrical as Rakim is.
Correct.
I think we would have took this album for something different than what it was.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Than just being thrown in with a bunch of MCs. Like, you know, respectfully, why didn't he have Nas on that album?
I was saying the same thing. It's crazy.
You see what I'm saying? Because of the caliber of MC that Nas is, we to have them together and probably somebody, you know, even, you know, if we're going a little closer to today and age, if you want to throw a Cole or somebody like that. But it's good to hear DMX's voice. But not on the Rakim album.
Nah.
You see what I'm saying?
You know what I would like? You know what I would like to hear on there? This one too, since you mentioned it on us, because J Period put them together on the Rakim mixtape. I would like to hear Black Thought on that album.
There you go. Yep, exact. There you go. That's the caliber of MC right along with there. I would like to hear Jizza.
That would be dope.
You know what I mean? Can you imagine Rakim and Jizza? You know what I mean? Like
get it.
That, but see, that's because, like we saying, it's. I think because of all the features and nobody equaled up to that, we know that Corrupt is Corrupt's from here. He's from the East, for real. You know what I mean?
Right.
So his
from Philly, bro.
He's from Philly, exactly.
Right.
But his style of rhyming, and then and to have Master Killer, that one song is the reason why that song became the first song to be thrown out like that
on the album. Yep.
Because you had three MCs who can equally deal with it. You know what I mean?
On that caliber, right?
Exactly. You know.
Agree.
So yeah, everything else on there was like, man, you should have had you should have had you know, more MCs that just could lyrically stand right next to him, and you go, damn, what did he say?
And this could be me reading into it too much. It's almost like Ross saying he back on a different level. Did he intentionally leave us wanting for more? Maybe that's just me reading into it. I don't know. I'm hoping there's more material coming out, but I do hope we get a little more Rakim on the next album. I really do. I just don't.
Unless we are the world, exactly.
Yeah. Unless we are the world. Too many features. And don't get me wrong. I know this is the era that this is where. I mean, what artist doesn't come out with somebody else? It wasn't like back then. See, back then, like now artists, and Rakim stays true to the old mold. He don't put overload with tracks, but you know, now dudes come out with 20, 25 tracks on album. Back in the day, you know, you had the vinyl, you had 10 to 12 tracks.
Yeah.
Side one had 5 or 6 songs, side two had 5. And you couldn't wait for the next album to come out. I think there was a good side to that and a bad side. The bad side is you were left wanting more. The good side was you couldn't wait for the next album to drop. Because average dude would put out in the 80s and 90s maybe 12, 13 songs on a track. And then this started to change probably when you get into the maybe late 90s or somewhere around that area. Now it's like some of these artists, like more of the new artists like Drake, and they're coming out with albums, 20, 25 songs on the album. And sometimes they come out with an album every year. It's just like, I don't know, to me, that's overkill because shit all sound the same to me.
They don't have A&Rs like
but Baniti, though, keep in mind that those songs are like 2 minutes apart. They're like 2 minutes each.
That's very critical. I'm glad you said that. They're about 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Like that last Jay-Z album, to me, no offense, that was trash. Like, I didn't really care. I didn't care for it because, not that it was trash because of Jay-Z's flow. It was trash because of what you just said, Taja. These little 2.5 minute, and to me, it was like, let me just throw something. Same thing with Kanye's last album. I thought that was trash. It's just to make an album with like 9 or 10 songs, 12 songs, 2 minutes each, and the whole album is 26 minutes. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, with that though, actually, that's probably, and most people won't really understand me on that. That's the only Jay-Z album I got.
Which one?
444.
444? Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's because I'm a big Nas person.
Me too.
You know what I mean? So I I fuck with Jay.
I only like his first 4 albums.
I like Jay-Z songs, but what I thought is what 444, he was at the point where he no longer has to answer to anybody, and he don't have to put out. You don't have somebody you got to sit there and they can either agree or disagree with what you're going to put out now. Like him throwing like him finishing Jay Electronica's album.
Right.
You know what I mean? He got a chance to do what he did on Jay Electronica's album that Jay-Z would have never done in life.
Correct. I agree.
You know what I mean? But it's probably what he wanted to do. You know what I mean? And I just think with 444, that showed some of his maturity. That's one. And it also showed the fact of I can do whatever. And like we said, because there's no A&Rs, remember, there's songs back in the day where you had an artist where they'll tell you they might have recorded 34 songs. But the label says, but the label says, nah, this ain't going to go on this album. Correct. And before you know it, 10 years down the line, a song's coming out and you going, that song new, and find out, no, that song's 10 years old.
And they just never put it out,
He just couldn't put it out because the label wouldn't accept it. It's just nowadays you don't have to answer to nobody. There was a dude who dropped there was a song that came out called 2 Minutes of Silence. Okay. There was another guy who dropped a song that was called 30 Seconds of Silence. His thing was, I could do what you did, but it only took me 30 seconds to do it.
Correct.
It's silence, but guess what? A lot of people listen to it.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can do any damn thing now. You could do anything. There's nothing to stop whatever you feel like doing. You could do.
Correct.
And so that's the difference of back then.
That makes sense.
And with that being the case, you don't have somebody who creatively is going to go, well, okay, I recorded these 30 songs. I'm gonna only give y'all 12 on this one, and then and 6 months later, I'm gonna give you 12. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to do that. They just going. They're gonna go, fuck it. I'm gonna drop all these songs right now.
If you go on Spotify right now, right, and you look up the top artists, I guarantee you 40 of them will be people you never heard of. And they have like millions of views and millions of followers.
Mm-hmm.
With crazy ass songs that you're like, what is this?
I got an artist that comes down and he drops it's the beginning of the song. He does a verse and he gives me a hook. And I'm going, so you going to do a second verse and never hook? No, that's what I wanted to give him. Okay.
And then, but I think some of it's attributed to what we were saying earlier. Now that a lot of these artists have control of putting their own music out digitally, shit, you can put out 40, 50 songs on an album. You're right.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want, right?
So whatever you want.
Like you said, it's not them days now where the label is like, all right, you recorded 25, 30 songs. We're only taking these 12 or 13. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. That's probably has a large portion to do it. And then Taza, you even clarified it more. You can use these streaming platforms and you will be surprised, like you say. That's interesting what you just said. The top artists on there, probably artists you never heard of and got the most followers and probably the most hits. So again, I think that confirms how the playing field has changed dramatically, right? So I mean, I'm learning something from that. But yeah, all right. So any other thoughts on the Rakim album? And then we could, if you want to move on to the next topic, Taja. I think yeah. So where did you want to go next? I know you also had on the agenda here the Drake Kendrick beef. I know that's not the newest of news, but I know you wanted something you wanted to build on that.
Yeah, I think. I mean, where do y'all stand on that? I know where I stand.
Well, I know I stand on it. Let me just say this. Let me just say this. Be clear about this. I'm not a Drake hater. It's just me. I don't consider Drake hip hop. All right. And let me tell you why. I know people are going to have a difference of opinion on that. There are some songs that he can flow to a degree, right? So yes, But I think Drake is in a category of himself. This is why I said when you go back to his first album, I think he was, not that he was the first, but I think he was one of the first successful artists to infuse that sing-along R&B hip-hop vibe.
Exactly.
I think Drake is in his own genre category by himself. So I don't really put him in that elite category of rappers or MCs. I think he started, literally, this is just my opinion, I think he has started his own genre of music. It's sing-along R&B hip-hop. It's got its own category to itself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
That's my take. I don't think he's in the level of again, I listen to some Kendrick Lamar. I'm not totally immersed in his catalog. I respect him. He's got skills, but I just don't think it's like comparing apples to peaches. I just don't think Drake has the lyrical ability, the style to even kind of fuck with a dude like Kendrick Lamar.
No,
that's just my opinion. And again, I've said this from day one. I've had debates with people. I know people think that's crazy. I don't consider Drake hip hop music. He's like dance, R&B, sing along. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit in front like some of his beats ain't catchy.
But
I'm not going to sit here in front. Yeah, I'll listen to some of his music. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a Drake hater.
Oh yeah,
I just think it's tough. That's a tough one.
Yeah, because 40 is a beast.
So
I think.
Hold this. And I'm only giving you a back seat because I respect you, bro. I think that Drake is like,
you can't even put it together.
Exactly. That's where
I'm trying to go back to the feeling when I first heard him, I kind of took him like a joke, right? He's like singing, right? So I'm like, okay, this is the 80s again. You know, he's like the singing MC, Breeze, blah, blah, blah. But then like he had a couple of songs that I liked, and I'm like, okay, well, this is cool. You know what I'm saying? I think it was the joint with Kanye, the bed squeaking joint, whatever. And I was like, that's hot. You know what I mean? Like that concept is hot. I don't know. Drake is a powerhouse of, like an MC though. Like, I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then even more now with this whole beef, it's like all these little videos I'm seeing of him not being able to catch a beat in a radio studio, and just like stealing people's rhymes from just nuts. Like, how do you ignore that? Like, as a creative person, I can't ignore it. You know what I'm saying? And I've always been a Kendrick fan. Like, my kids put me on a Kendrick probably more than 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I love Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? And then so the battle wasn't even really a battle thing for me. It was just like, let me see what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what they're doing. And Drake did what I expected him to do, and Kendrick did what I expected him to do. You know what I'm saying? And so,
do you think it's what we talked about in the past? Do you think Kendrick is probably one of the many MCs that are getting tired? Let's just keep it real, and let's not act like Image, light skin, dark skin ain't got shit to do with it. It's like, shit to do with it. No. It's like Beyonce, right? They jam Beyonce down your throat. Like, personally, me, I've said this a million times before. I think she's average as a vocalist. She's not. She can't sing, but the look, the marketing, the dance, and the shaking, Now I look at Drake as the Beyonce. They're trying to use him as the Beyonce.
There you go. There you go. You hit it right there. Because here you go. The battle with Drake and Meek. This shouldn't have been a battle if we look on the fact of lyrical skills, right? If we look at lyrical skills, Meek should have murdered this dude. Exactly. But it's the same reason why Drake wouldn't want no parts of Pusha. Right. You know what I mean? You can't mess with a dude who this is what he wants. You know? And I'm gonna tell you, like I said, 40 is a hell of a fucking producer. Yeah. I don't knock his it started from the bottom song. The way that was
the beat,
fucking beast.
Oh yeah.
So what he do to them songs, he do well. But if we're gonna label him an MC, you might as well label Chris Brown as being an MC.
I think Chris Brown got more rap skills than Drake.
But
I'm just gonna keep it real
that's
with
what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's the fact of we know where Chris's skills derive from. You know, he's probably one of the greatest to do R&B. But
you.
just
My
like
favorite
that,
R&B artist right now.
right there you go. But just like that, the battle that he dealt with, don't nobody want that Chris Brown smoke when it come to him battling as far as the MC. You know what I mean? But
Somebody had put up that argument about him before, and Chris Brown is like the premier R&B artist. Like nobody's touching him right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's the Michael Jackson of this era right now.
Amazing performer.
Yep.
And he can blow. He can sing. To me,
sing his ass off, right?
I've said this before. I know he wants to stay involved in that urban culture. If Chris tomorrow said, I want to go mainstream pop, he could be on that level like Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
He's that talented. He's been that talented when he came up as a young teenager. But I know his heart. He's more involved in the urban culture, and that's where, you know. And I think I'm sure he understands that, and I'm sure his A&R reps have come to him. But if Chris wanted to become like a Michael Jackson, a Prince, or R. Kelly,
he could,
you know, on that level, he could be that tomorrow if he wanted to, in my opinion.
Now, also, you got to go back to, there is a interview with Lil Wayne, when they interviewed Lil Wayne about Drake, and he said, I told Drake. Now, this is not a recent interview. This is a lot older. He said, well, what do you think about Drake, what he's doing now? Wayne said, well, I told Drake, stay in your lane. Stay talking about what you're familiar with. He said, don't try to be me.
No, he said,
no, straight up.
He said, keep it Canadian.
But yeah, he did. Matter of fact, he said, you know.
He said, I told him, keep it Canadian.
Keep it Canadian. Yep.
Listen, that's why it's hard for me to take him serious. How can I take a half Jewish black kid that was on Degrassi High or Nickelodeon? And I'm not saying that means like don't judge it just by that. Yeah. But this is where you know the A&R shit comes in. That we know a lot of these cats, not all of them. There's some real cats on wax. What they rapping about, they live. So I'm not definitely not negating that.
But just like that, hip hop is supposed to be entertainment. So not always do. You know, we ain't always got to keep it real.
100%.
You know what I mean? You know, some of the greatest story. You know, hey, Slick Rick is the greatest storyteller of all time.
Exactly. Stay in your lane. Not everybody. Not everybody has to be a gangster.
No.
And keep it hard. So that's where I was going. Like, I can't take Drake serious when he's rapping about like being hardcore. It just like
that happened when he grew a beard. He started being tough. That's what it was.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, it don't work. But no, like you just said, this one, it's okay. It's like Heavy D stood in his lane. He was a party rapper, and that's okay. That's like Kid and Play putting out gangster rap.
Yeah,
it's okay to just get out there, entertain, and you know, stay in your lane. Doesn't always have to be taken in a derogatory way.
No,
it just means play to your strengths. You know, stay in your lane, talk about what you know, be who you're supposed to be. You know, not everybody has to be from the streets and keeping it real. And I'm a thug and I'm smacking hoes and I was the biggest dope dealer in my area. Yeah, that shit is getting played out, man.
But that's when you got them yes men and you can't. Who there's nobody that's going to. Nobody in that room is going to tell you, nah, don't do that. You know what I mean? Everybody gonna tell you, yo, that's murder right there.
That's what's selling. That's what's selling.
That's what's selling. That's what's killing it right there. You know what I mean? So that becomes the problem. Also, is if he had to stay listening to Wayne, you know what I mean? We wouldn't have these you know, these problems. And it's an ego thing. You know what I mean? Because you know, like whatchamacallit said, there is no top three. There's just that's what you're supposed to look. Kool Keith told you in one of his songs, ain't that something? I'm the greatest MC in the world.
Right.
Who was going to turn around and say, Kool Keith, you ain't the great? Ain't nobody.
Hey, And
That's
look. So along those lines, right? So you have Kendrick and you have Drake, and then everybody was on J. Cole because he dipped out, right?
smart man.
But to me, it was smart because you knew it was going to be you and Kendrick left.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got no beef with Kendrick, like, what are you even in it for?
What do you?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that
Right.
that Kendrick's the engine. He ain't, that's something to be fucked with right there.
Exactly.
I think Kendrick just got tired of the bullshit. That's just how I read it. I think Kendrick was like, yo, enough is enough of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And look, let's just keep it real. Let's not act like racism doesn't exist. Let's not act like privilege doesn't exist. And now, like, we know that hip hop, obviously, anything that they see, the powers that be, see can make money, and however they can monetize it and get rich off of it. But there's an agenda when it, not just with hip hop, even R&B. That's why I brought up the Beyonce analogy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're coming out with a lot of these artists that have this, I call them neutrinoid appeal. They can appeal to blacks, whites, Latinos, Asians, and like even an example when you look at that shit with Beyonce crossing over into country music, right? I mean, I got my thoughts. There's a lot of thoughts I got on that shit, but that now with this same impact, what if Kendrick Lamar put out a country album, a country rap album tomorrow? Would it be the same response?
Fuck no.
Hell no, because he's 3-4 tones darker than Beyonce.
Exactly. Now Drake did it.
Let's just keep it 100%.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. All that to say, real quick back. That's what I think they're doing with Drake. They're jamming him down our throat.
Mm-hmm.
And I, it's look. I'm not a Drake hater. I'm just
Not at all.
I just don't consider him. I think he's got his own genre.
Yeah,
I think we need to,
and he does what he do well.
Yeah, he does what he does.
What he does, he does well. You know what
Now
I mean?
I say he wasn't the first, because you can go back on Fear of a Black Planet album and listen to Flavor Flav's 911 is a joke and I can't do nothing for you, man. And Flav was kind of using that sing-along, rap cadence.
Yeah, but so was Old Dirty.
So was Old Dirty, but that's what I'm saying. He wasn't the first to do it. I just think he made it more R&B sounding and more.
Yeah.
I don't know what to describe it. To be honest with you, I'm lost for words. It's got R&B feel to it, trap feel to it.
He dropped a whole R&B album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What hip hop artist or quote called himself a hip hop artist can do that. Drop a whole just R&B ballad album. You know what I mean? So that but there you go. That's where his ego could take over, because he probably said himself, who can do this but me?
Correct.
And Chris Brown.
Correct.
If he wanted to. You know what I mean? Chris Brown could drop a whole hip hop album. You know what I mean? But as far as Drake, it was a who could do that for him. And then, like you said, we've been seeing this shit since the days of the Supremes with Diana Ross and them. 100%. You know what I mean? So back in the day, they were with Mary Wells and people like that. They were putting the lighter artists out. I mean, that's what the whole movie Dream Girls is about.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, but that's how society lays things out. You know what I mean?
100%. Taja, anything else on that, or you want to get to finish up with some of these? There's a lot of comments and questions in the chat. I was thinking maybe.
Yeah, no, we can get to the questions and comments.
As we always do these shows, we can never get to everything because it opens the door to more discussion, which is a great thing. But I think this was good. So a lot of things have transpired since we did the last show. And I agree. I appreciate this one's input. It's making me see some things, maybe get over my old head grumpiness. So it brought some strong points. And, I try to look at it like, I don't know, maybe I'm just bitter because it pains me. It's almost like when Common made that song, I Used to Love Her. That's kind of my how I feel about hip hop, right?
No doubt.
I got that energy and that vibe. It's like I feel sad for it sometimes. I feel like it's being disrespected and it's not what it used to be. But I kind of do see some of the things this one is saying and what Taja you saying. We kind of got to let this thing play out and evolve. And as long as we still got artists out there putting out music and touring, and we're supporting it, we can keep it. We can keep it alive. All right, so let's run through the chat. We got some comments, questions. We'll see what we can. There's a lot. I don't know if we can get to all this. We'll try. We'll see if we can get to the questions. Maybe I'll just read the comments real quick, and we'll take some of the questions. All right, so what else we got? Let's see. Malik Cushy Music says, I've been watching for about 2 months. Interesting topic. I found you after trying to find Brother Panic's channel. His channel was removed after the transition. Hip hop and the occult is heavy. I appreciate that. Thank you, brother. So why is there such a close? This is a good question, Taja. And I'll check. Why is there such a close connection with music and the occult? I think consciousness in general. That's for me, and then you brothers can chime in. I think that's what drew me into the culture in the first place. Because my first introduction probably to hip hop, obviously, was the breakdance craze in the early '80s. Being part of the whole breakdance movement. You know, I remember when breaking came out, Beat Street. I mean, in '82, '83.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I probably really started getting. But I think what drew me into it consciously, I went to school and I became, for a while, I was part of the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths.
Okay.
And that's where my connection with Rakim comes. So I think it's always been there, especially in hip hop. Like Public Enemy, that's my favorite group of all time. I was a huge Peehee head. I went to the point I was wearing the shower clock. That's how crazy I was. I was walking around with a fucking shower clock on.
Same here.
I mean, I felt at that time as a young teenager, I needed an outlet to express myself. I think the world was at a serious time of transition and change. So when you go from the late 80s into the early 90s, I think there was a great awakening going on at that time on a multitude of levels, in my opinion. And I felt like a lot of the conscious rappers, like PE, Public Enemy, Brand Nubian, Tribe Called Quest, Jungle Brothers. I mean, these were the artists that I gravitated towards because they were saying what I was feeling. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like when I listened to them, it was good to hear somebody express what I was saying. And then you had cats like who grew up right in my area, Sip Bismarcky. I mean, Bismarcky, Public Enemy, De La Soul, all these guys. When you see guys coming up in your area, it gave you hope in listening to, you know, what they were saying and what they were talking about, because they were saying what we were feeling, and we just didn't have the outlet to do it. But I always think that the connection has been there. So I don't know, you brothers' thoughts on that.
Nah, I think that I think having that connection to it, I think that, like, you know, I don't know, from a young age, like I think probably I was maybe like 11 or 12 when I first discovered hip hop. And that means that you're talking 81, 82.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And from Philly, but I was in Jersey at the time, and my homie behind me came up with this little contraption with wire hangers and stuff he would put to the radio and be able to pick up BLS and Kiss. And I come over his spot and listen to that, and we just be like bugging out, you know what I mean, on the new stuff. And damn, I forgot the question, Baniti.
No, it's connection. So with Young Finest, his question to us was, why do you think there's a close connection with music and the occult? It could be any form.
Oh, yeah. So my point was that coming up as a young age, like I was always connected to. It was so weird because it was like colors would attract me. Certain angles of sunlight, certain things in the darkness, certain things when everything was just still, I would pay attention to certain things. And, you know, I don't know. It surrounded my sensitivity towards things that were unseen, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't realize that until my older years, you know what I'm saying? And I think that just the tie between it is like it's the same kind of visceral thing. Like when you, for me, gravitating towards hip hop was like, I can't even explain to you what it was. It was just like a feeling. You know what I'm saying? It was like it's like a feeling in your nervous system that you get that makes you create something or makes you, you know what I mean, jump to a beat or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, it's not the beat in your ear. It's a feeling that you actually have. You know what I'm saying? So
And it's the drum. The drum is huge.
The drum.
oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So I think, I mean, to answer that question, like that's how I would put it. Like that's just, I don't know. It's really hard to explain, but that's what it is. It's a feeling. You know what I mean? That bridges those two things.
Yeah, and on the Philly note, like I told you, I was one of them cats in New York. I was on a lot of Philly artists. I used to play the shit out of. I mean, Tough Crew, Hilltop Hustlers. I mean, all 3 times Dope.
Right.
I mean, all these Schoolie D.
There you go. And Pop Art was here in Philly.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, Warlock Records is how I first came across, because Tough Crew was on Warlock Records before they. Well, I mean, I was a huge Tough Crew head. I was probably one of the few in my area. I mean, I was banging their shit on the regular, especially that first album. I played the shit out of that first album. You know, but your thoughts this one?
Well,
any connection?
I think where y'all going with what y'all talking about and what he's asking is 2 different things.
Correct.
And the reason I think he's asking about the association with hip hop and the occult is because of what you got going on with your Nicki Minaj's and your Little Nas X, and what you got with your
that shit,
you know, and your Lil Uzi Verse, and even then, you know, where they say what, you know, now all 3 of us are tied into this so much into a deep point, because not only are you dealing with Freemasons, but you're dealing with the nations of the gods and earths.
100%.
You know what I mean? So I always tell people, you know, because I dealt with guys and earths, I dealt with the as a 5%er. But because I'm a Freemason, that made me a 10%er.
Me
right?
too. I'm a Freemason myself.
And here you go. And because I'm a deacon in the church, some people might want to consider me an 85. I'm 100%.
I got you.
You know what I mean? I'm 100%. So, but with that being, I think they try to associate what he's asking is because of the success of a lot of these people who are going on stage and doing, and it's crazy you asked that, because I just watched something earlier on YouTube where it was showing, you know, what Little Nas X, what he was doing in his shows on stage, and what Beyonce was conjuring up on stage. But you know what? All that shit's an act.
I agree. That's what I was
going to call it. All an act. It's all
shock value.
Yeah, the shock value. Controversy sells. It pulls people in. It's 100%. Like you're seeing a fat chick that's got a real short skirt on. You might turn around, what's she doing wearing that? But guess what? You looked at her and you commented about her. Therefore, she got the attention she wants. That's what's happening with this, with all these so-called devil worshipers. They don't have a soul. They probably don't know what a soul is to sell it.
That's crazy.
You feel me? So as far as all that, nah, it's all made up to draw people in. So the association with the occult and any kind of music, you know, because they said Madonna doing it. They said, you know, exactly. It goes on. It's all something that keeps the conversation moving and keep people drawn into it. You know, agree. So there is no association with the occult and music. It's all it's all a movie. It's Saw Part 17.
Right. And it's going to be that infusion of the bullshit and the shock value. And then there's going to be that.
What was the one dude, Brother Lynch Love or some shit like that? Remember, all dude talked about was blood in his music.
Exactly. And then remember the hardcore movement.
The hardcore movement. Remember? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We never said them dudes sold their soul. They just talked about.
I mean, Grave Diggers is classic.
Grave Diggers.
It's classic. I mean, that's classic.
Classic right there.
That right there is classic. That's one of my favorite. Yeah, man. Grave Diggers was off the chain. But yeah, that's a good point. Good point. So this question comes from Adam. I'll be brief on this one. What do you think about Diddy being accused of Tupac's murder? All right, real quick. All right, never been a huge Diddy fan. Look, I respect him to a degree as a producer. I don't respect how he treated his artists, all the shit that's coming to the surface, obviously, over the years. Now, again, what of it? I'm sure a majority, there's I always say there's truth and there's lies, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. So, but it's obvious he jerked around a lot of his artists.
Of course.
I do like some of the, was a huge Craig Mack fan.
Without a doubt.
Some of the artists he put out. Now, again, I get a little controversy when I say this. I know everybody talks about Biggie and Tupac. I don't think Biggie and Tupac, in my opinion, were elite MCs lyrically.
No.
Now, I don't want nobody to misconstrue that. I think they were very talented with their flow, their delivery, and their style. And people get mad when I say that. But I don't think you can put Biggie or Tupac in an elite lyrical lyricist category.
The catalog wasn't long enough.
Thank you, the category. But I saw this new allegation that surfaced. Are we surprised? Is it because the Diddy thing is hot right now and they're trying to put more shit on top of more shit?
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know I'm confused that all of a sudden this dude they recently arrested for it sounds like a cover-up job to me. I think
without a doubt.
Yeah, I can't believe it that after all these years, now you want to put it to rest. I think this dude was the fall guy, the guy that got in jail right now. So my thoughts, I'm not gonna sit here and be hypocritical, or I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. I don't know. Could there be some truth to that allegation? Possibly. Because there was a lot of shady shit going on. And it's tragic that East Coast, West Coast beef was, I think it actually, if those artists at that time would have came together, beforehand they were on point, I think things might have turned out different for the culture as a whole. And I think that's still sad to say in 2024, we still suffering the effects of that to a degree. So I don't know if he did have anything to do with it, then, let that shit come out. I think here's another thing spiritually people may not know, and you may not have caught this. If you saw that picture, I put it on my Instagram. Diddy's got a tattoo of Razili Dantor on his back. And if you don't understand the Voodoo, the Loa culture, she is the patroness of women. And if you are a male that disrespects women, you're opening yourself up a doorway to a spirit that will retaliate against you as a male. Now, when I saw that, and I didn't even know he had that tattoo on his back, and now I'm saying all these allegations and all the shit that went on with women and the things that he's being accused of, it's just me in my spiritual world. I think he actually didn't realize what he did when he did that. Now, I don't know the reason why he put that tattoo on his back. You wouldn't put that tattoo on your back if you didn't know something about that spiritual system.
No doubt.
So,
you could be led to do it. You know what I'm saying? And people do stuff. People do stuff when they're drunk, and under the influence of this and that.
That's not the Black Madonna and Child. People.
Nah. I feel what you're saying. I'm just saying. Who knows why he got it, but he obviously didn't realize what he had on his back when he was doing what he was doing. You know what I'm saying?
So I don't know. What you guys' thoughts on that recent allegation of him possibly being involved?
Me personally, here you go. If it's all, I think all of it's set up. How many people shot JFK? Who was on the grassy knoll? It's like anything else. You see what I'm saying? Because it's the same thing to me, and it's sadly to say, but it's the same thing as the whole Bill Cosby situation, or even if you want to go into a lot of the other artists who became so big that, it's the same thing as the Michael Jackson situation. You know what I mean? Yep. You become so big that it's got to be at some point where they gotta knock you back down off of where you was. Either they're gonna do it one way or the other. Either by allegations that's going to destroy your character, or they're going to literally kill you.
Well, and I'm glad you bring up. I've said this before. My thoughts with Michael Jackson, Prince, and R. Kelly. First of all, and I stand behind this, I don't think Michael Jackson touched damn near not one of them kids, and I'm gonna tell you why. first of all, no adult should let a young child spend the night over another adult's house. I do believe Mike had some mental issues where he still thought he was a child,
because he couldn't.
but
be
I
one.
don't believe
Mhm.
Mike touched not one damn near one of them kids.
Exactly.
I do think Mike and Prince were killed because they wanted control. They had control of
Exactly.
their music catalog.
100%.
And that's why they went and got them. Same thing with Prince. There's too much suspicion of his death.
100%.
And Prince, too, controlled his catalog. And now people fail to realize, and I'm not, look, there's evidence there also in the R. Kelly case. I do think some of the shit he did, just like Bill Cosby. I don't think all that shit was true. But the bottom line is with R. Kelly, he was in the process. Do you know how much money? He was in the process of controlling his entire catalog.
Yep.
And I think those allegations and the things he did opened the door for them to come get him.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly. So you got that. They got to knock you off of that square.
They got to get you off
know
of
what I
that
mean?
square.
And that's what happened to these. That's what's happened. You want if we look at Diddy, okay? We look at if we talk about Diddy, we got to go all the way back to Quincy Jones.
Yes.
Because we got to go with the fact of who was underneath.
People forget the Quincy Jones.
Yeah,
right?
We got to go with the Andre Harrells. You know what I mean? We got to go with who was the intern of him. We got to go where Diddy started through that, and and what he was brought up into. So his legacy right now is something that was going on. He's a product of what was going on, but at the day he was born.
I agree.
Who his connections was with. You know what I mean?
agree. He came up. That's right.
But like I know and Taza knows that when you look at Quincy Jones, he was able to stay underneath for the radar of things. You know what I mean? When we don't know what the hell Andre Harrell was into.
Yeah, but you know what? This one too. Remember, that shit was going on in a time where social media wasn't
around. The casting couch been here forever.
Yeah.
The casting couch been here forever.
That's right.
So how all of a sudden Bill Cosby? I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna just leave it right there. I'm gonna just go there. And who was the shooter on the grassy knoll? That's
it was. That's it. It was easier. It was easier back then to keep things a little bit low profile. You can't do it now because as soon as it breaks, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It wasn't like that back then. The only way we stayed in tune with the news back then was TV and radio. And if you weren't watching TV and listening to radio regularly, you didn't know what was going on. Now, shit, you got this right here. You got apps, notifications. You see anything breaks, it comes right to you.
There you go. Social media is crazy.
We don't have that shit right now.
So I don't believe everything that they saying about. You know what I mean?
Neither. And that's not saying we support Diddy or we don't.
No, without a doubt. He should have listened to Russell Simmons and took up residency in Dubai.
Out of the country.
He should have moved over to Dubai, left it alone.
See, and that's my hometown, man. See, it's the Russell thing, the Run DMC Museum and what they meant. Man, I kind of look. I always, as a young, I suspected Russell was a little fruity, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, of course.
I always had the suspect, but I looked up. Run DMC probably were one of the first iconic groups I looked up to because I credit Run DMC was probably the pioneers of getting hip hop into the mainstream.
Exactly.
In mainstream, and I think that's their biggest contribution to the culture. I believe, I could be wrong. I believe they were the first rap group to ever appear on MTV.
They was.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
People
in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, exactly.
So
and Run got a new song out.
Yeah.
With BBD.
Listen, man, that's crazy, man. Crazy.
Right.
But
but I agree 100%. I just think it's something right now, they want to throw on him because it's like everything else. You too far, in. So we got to knock you back down.
I agree. Well said. All right. So the next question from Young Finest Baniti: did you see the mocking of the Last Supper shown in the Olympics opening? Yes. Not surprised. Now, what I'm about to say, I don't want any transgender, gays, or homosexuals to take this wrong. Please don't. But at the same token, please respect my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. I do think there's an agenda, again, to neutralize gender in this country. I'm just going to keep it real. Okay? Why they chose the Last Supper scene, I got many thoughts on that. Probably could do a whole show on that. I don't really want to get into that now. But I think what they're trying to do is they tried to pass a bill not too long ago where they don't want you to give the gender or sex to your kid until they're 2 years old, which makes no sense.
What?
Yeah, makes absolutely no sense to me. I'm totally opposed to this.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's out of control. Look,
Oh,
my thing is, and I say this from a scientific standpoint. I think you gotta pick sides, man or woman. I got a lot of issues with this transgender shit. A lot of them committing suicide after they go through the transition. They get on medication. They can't handle it. I'm saying this not from any religious perspective, not coming from any specific system, the Bible or nothing. I just think science says it's not. It goes against science and nature. But I think there's an agenda, to demasculize a lot of men.
yeah.
This just, you don't have to agree with this. So I think, look what just happened. You guys probably saw at the Olympics. The female boxer had no business being in the ring with that Italian girl. And that girl had to quit in 46 seconds because she was getting whooped. Because genetically, the Olympic testing committee doesn't recognize the fact that he still has the genetics of a man. And they don't. Yeah, you can see it. It's all over the news.
No, I didn't watch nothing dealing with the Olympics this year.
Yeah. She was, I forgot what country she's from, an Arab country. She's a man that transitioned into a woman. You look at it, she looks like a man. She got arms like a man. Go watch the footage. She boxed this Italian female boxer from Italy and beat the piss out of her. The girl had to quit in 46 seconds.
Because that's still a man.
It's still a man. So I'm just saying that this whole transgender thing, this whole promoting this, and I'm going to say sexuality. I want to just say gay and homosexual and transgender. I think there is a concentrated effort to demasculize men in this country. All right. And it creates confusion when it comes to the female gender. I know people are going to have issues with me saying that, but I have to keep it real. Why did they do that? There's a lot of that agenda being promoted at this Olympics. Look at the symbolism. All you got to do is pay close attention. The question we should be asking too is, remember, the Olympics has its root in an origin and a culture that promoted that stuff, ancient Greece. All you got to do is go back.
Yeah, the history of it.
Yeah. So is it a coincidence that this Olympics in Greece, in France, and the origin of the Olympics has its root in Greek mythology and Greek culture? I mean, there's many reasons why, but I think, again, one of the huge reasons that's going on, we see it even in hip hop. We talked a little bit earlier about Lil Nas X. Now you got rappers wearing skirts and painting their nails.
Yeah.
Look. I can't pretend like I got to be honest in my opinion on it. That's not hip hop. Okay, I'm sorry. You could say, well, yeah, I get what everybody is saying. The culture's evolving and changing, but that it was never meant to evolve and to change into that. I'm sorry. You could ask any pioneer from back then.
Yeah, that's not what he wanted. Yeah,
bullshit. If anybody tells you, well, that's part of the evolvement and change, bullshit. I gotta disagree with you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, I can't answer to that because I didn't even watch it. But you're saying that they mocked the Last Supper at the beginning.
Yeah, they had an opening scene of a bunch of transgender women or cross-dressing women sitting at a table, like in the format of the Last Supper, and they were mocking the Last Supper. Yeah, you got to go check it out.
See, people, you better understand the last days.
Yeah, well, that too.
You better understand the last days on what's going on. You know what I mean? All I can say is this is written.
It's real.
Well.
Go ahead, Taza.
All right, so this is not hip hop, right? Cowboy, right? When did we find out Cowboy was gay?
I just
we
found
talked
out.
about that. No, we talked about that.
I just found out.
I know where Taj is going. He's going back to Grandmaster Flash, 45, Cowboys, Scorpio. Now, because remember, Taj, I'm glad you bring this up because it's a good point. Because remember, a lot of the early pioneers of hip hop on that, George Parliament, Funkadelic, Africa Bambaataa, all of these cats, right?
Yeah, but that don't mean they was the Village People.
No, but I think hip hop is still trying to find its identity.
Yeah, exactly.
So, because you got to remember, that was the 70s, early 80s, that the Parliament funk era, that was very prominent in Black culture. So this is just my opinion. I think a lot of those artists like Grandmaster Melly Mel and the Furious Five, Cowboy, Scorpio, Disco 3, I think all those cats were using that as a launching pad because that's what was there at the time.
That's what was there. Exactly. Bambaataa. You know what I mean? That's all. That's how they dressed. That's what they did.
But still. No, but
some of them probably were fruity. We don't know.
But still, he had on a pink cowboy hat, pink leather suit.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
it wasn't Cowboy that had the pink cowboy hat, and it wasn't him. That was who was the one that recently got locked up for murder.
Oh,
the smaller light skinned boy. He was the one who was wearing a lot of the pink shit. I don't think it was Cowboy.
Maybe I'm confused. Then I thought that was Cowboy.
No, but but even then, it's like we said, you gotta understand that what they were wearing played out is the same thing as if you follow Sun Ra. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I get that. I get the whole Parliament Funkadelic, all that. I get all that.
People with Bambaataa in them, they were on a cosmic plane.
I get it. I get it.
It's the.
No, I'm not. So I'm not. What I'm saying is I'm not down in the feathers and the spikes and all that. It was like I said, the pink cowboy hat, the pink leather, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. This has come up in the past before. You also got to remember, at that time, in white culture, you had a lot of 80s metal bands that were huge and popular.
Yeah.
So this has come up in the past in discussion. Do you think part of the thinking in that marketing was the antithesis it was kind of the answer to what was going on? Part of it. I'm not saying that it was, but you got to remember that's how a lot of those 80s metal bands were dressing at the same exact time.
Even Billy Joel.
Yeah, Twisted Sister, Motley Crue.
Sister, yep.
You had all those groups. They dressed the same way with the feathers and the spikes and
Motley
the
Crue.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So I'm saying that to say this. I'm not saying that's what it is, Taj. I see your point because we've talked about this before. I see your point. I'm just saying it was part of that because that's what was influencing music as a whole. You know, you had, because remember at that time you had Parliament funk going on. You had 80s metal bands that were dressing like that.
Yeah.
And then the early stages of hip hop. So was
it? Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're definitely right.
Was it a product of the times? Maybe it was what I don't know.
Product of the times. Because if you back then, even Bambaataa and them considered themselves at one point a lot. They dealt with the rock culture still, even heavy and the parties that they was doing.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? So
I know how punk and hip hop cross. So I get it.
There you go, because that was the
music
punk era.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
the Clash.
So, I think
like that.
I think at that time I attribute a lot of that. I think hip hop was trying to find its identity,
trying to find itself,
because it didn't have an identity really at that time. And then remember when it transitioned, I think Run DMC era, when you get into the close to the mid 80s is when all that went away.
Yep.
And then remember, they were still trying to find their identity because then you had R&B art. Remember, Luther Vandross, not Roberta Flack, Anita Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, all these artists were saying that hip hop was a fad. It wasn't going to last.
Yep.
And now R&B can't survive without hip hop because every R&B artist wants to be a hip hop artist. And, it's crazy.
That's what.
But I think that's a period, the 80s. From 80 to 85, I think hip hop was trying to find its identity.
Trying to find itself, yeah.
I don't think it found its identity to about 84, 85, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know. I mean, but I do see your point, Taj, because I know we've discussed this a few times, you know, and I go back and I look at that and I remember seeing it as a kid. I used to love the music, but I used to look at the dress and be like, oh, it's a little bizarre.
Yeah, world-class wrecking crew. Yep.
Yeah, Well, see, nobody talks about that now. I had the World Class Wrecking Crew turn out the lights 12-inch. I was cranking it. That was one of the slow jams from back in the day. But now, to our point we were saying earlier, does Dr. Dre lose street credibility? Because if you've seen the album, so where do we put? I'm just saying.
You got, but he had to adapt according to what era and what he was dealing with.
That's my point.
Because remember, back then, even as he started going on, he told you, express yourself. I don't smoke weed nor cess.
There you go.
But then when he came out as a solo artist, his album was called The Chronic. You see what I'm saying? So you got to move along to what's going on, and that's what made him to what he is. You know what I mean? I think to the day I still never seen Dre smoke weed.
Exactly. Now you can put all that together, and my opinion, I have respect for Dre as a producer,
without a doubt.
I actually like some of his music. Again, never was a huge West Coast head. That just was me. But I do like some of Dre's music is off the chain. You got to respect him as a producer. I don't know where he was in his mindset in the World Class Wrecking Crew. We've all seen the pictures, got the makeup on and the funky Parliament crazy look. I don't know.
If you get a chance, let me see if I can grab it. These books here, this book here, it's a hip hop book. Hip Hop Family Tree.
Okay. I
have the full volume of it. I got all 4 books, and I also got the hardback book.
Nice.
These books right here, and this is Bambaataa on the cover of volume 2. These books right here, the editor of these books went to the actual people in the book. All your rap artists. I mean, every rap artist you could think of when he put these volumes together. And including Dre in them, and like volume 3 or 4. You know, there's these books tell more truth than anything I've ever heard in music. And Amazon. If you get a chance, Hip Hop Family Tree. Look that shit
everybody
up.
Check that out. Yeah, everybody.
For real. I got all 4 volumes. I was blessed that on the bottom, I went to see these boys in New York, and they autographed all 4 volumes that I had. Awesome. And they did a discussion about it. But I will honestly say I've learned more, and with you being in the culture, Taza being in the culture, as long as we have, and as long as I have, because I've dealt with it from day one in the 80s. This shit I learned in these books that I never knew. You know what I mean? That I was so surprised. It's 4 volumes. But yeah, you get a chance. Hip Hop Family Tree, for real. Because that told me a lot about Dre in these books.
Okay. Yeah. And again, that's why we got to do our research. I mean, stuff like that. It's, because we're dealing with a different time. Now they're coming out straight out off the chain on certain things. But you got to remember back then, you take an artist like, for an example, Drake. He came out this prior NWA. So he came out. That was probably his entrance, a doorway into the music business. Mm-hmm. That's the group he was involved in. But now it's a little different. Now you got dudes coming out like that now.
Yeah.
And look, some of it I attributed. I just believe there's an agenda there. We have to be conscious of the day and time. It's tough when we're going back to that period, and then we're kind of comparing. It's like the Jordan LeBron debate. It's the same thing. Okay. Now I'm a Jordan fan to the end. I just think this comes up. I don't think anybody could have did what Jordan did in an era when there was true big men, there was true centers. The true center doesn't exist in the NBA no more. Nope. I think it's a different game. It's a finesse game. It's a 3-point game now. The game is called different. And I'm telling you why I'm saying this in reference to what we're talking about. I mean, back then you could come through the paint, catch an elbow to the head, and sometimes the referee wouldn't call shit. They'd let you play.
Right. Yeah. Now they're so sensitive.
I mean, I come from an era. I love the old Eastern Conference games, 86 to 85, 90 to 80. Those games don't exist no more. Everybody's lighting up the scoreboard 115, 120 points a night.
Right.
That shit didn't exist back then.
Exactly.
I think Jordan played against tougher competition, more physical competition.
Exactly. And even then, even slightly before that, even in our Dr. J days.
Forget it. You're talking.
You know what I mean?
you can't compare. I think Jordan would tear up this era if he was playing alongside the talent he had. I don't think guys like LeBron and Steph Curry would be successful in that era.
No.
LeBron does not come through the paint. He's not a monster coming through the paint like that. Okay? He's got size. He's probably more physical and athletic than Jordan, but Jordan was a more smarter, intelligent player. It's a different era. You can't compare the two. Jordan was going up against Lambeer, Dikembe Mutombo. He was going up against Ralph Sampson, David Robinson. I mean, he was going up against the Knicks of the 90s. Were monsters. I mean, that's my team. They were monsters.
They were monsters, yeah.
Who's he going up against like that? Nobody.
Right.
And he doesn't play defense. Jordan, how many times did Jordan win all defense? Compared, come on, man, you can't compare the two. So I'm saying we can't take these rappers and coming.
Look, you gonna make me pull the Michael Jordan out on you.
Oh shit, there you go. Now look, I hated MJ so much because he used to torture us. It was a hate because he was so good. You know how many games I had to sit there and watch as a Knicks fan in the playoffs or in the regular season? We could have 3 minutes left in the game, be up 10, 12 points. I never felt comfortable.
Right?
And the only time we beat the Bulls is when Jordan went to play baseball. So what does that tell you? During the Tony Kukoc era. and it still took us 7 games to beat him.
Wow.
And we didn't have Jordan. Jordan was, I've been to 2 Christmas Day games where I watched Jordan put up 50 plus on us. If you watch the man play, it's like Tom Brady. I hate Tom Brady because he was so good, because he was smart.
Smart.
Right? Jordan was a monster. There was nothing like watching Jordan play. And like I said, I hated him because he was so good. It was a hate, love, respect. I mean, you would just sit there in awe and watch how this man take over a game by himself. There's nobody to, not now. I'm not saying later down the road, maybe when we're gone, I don't know. But I haven't seen anybody since Jordan left the game come close. Kobe, maybe. Kobe showed flashes of it. And I think Kobe's better than LeBron. That's just me. Okay. Kobe showed flashes of it. But to this day, Jordan's the GOAT, man. There's no debate. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Understood.
You can't compare being undefeated in the finals. LeBron's got the worst record in the NBA finals, 22-34. Okay? Wow. That's just in the finals.
Wow.
And go look at Jordan's record. Jordan's 6-0 in the finals. This man has lost 4 NBA finals. Should have been 5, because if Ray Allen doesn't hit that 3 in Miami, they don't win that game 7. So he could just be sitting on 5 NBA final. But anyway, but that's my whole point with Dre. It's hard to compare eras. You can't.
Yeah.
You could do it with sports, same problem. You can do it with music, you got the same problem. We got to be careful with that. All right. Take a couple more. I'm going to wrap this up because it's getting a little late. I got a puppy here I got to attend to. Damien Busiaga. Hopefully I pronounced your last name right. Hip hop is alive in Chicago with house parties, DJs, tagging crews. Well, that's awesome to hear. Keep that alive, man. That's awesome to hear. That's what I like to hear. Young Finest says a lot of rappers coming out fruity. Pretty sure it's Holly weird. Turning them gay. Yeah, I agree. Ultra Instinct said earlier, we talk about Future better than who? Stop it. Laugh my ass off. I agree. What else? Right. I spent 20,000 hours of my life. This is Malik Kush music again. I spent 20,000 hours of my life working at my craft. Technology has killed the esoteric journey that music makes a soul through by way of oral tradition, trial, and error. Yeah, I mean, it's see, we're going to look at it from a different perspective than other people, but I agree with that. What else we got here? See if I can get to some questions and skip some comments. This was in reference to what we were saying earlier. I'll read this comment. I think it's relevant. One of the most evil things to happen is the ageism in the culture. Nobody ages out in country music, to what you were saying earlier, this one. Music is cultural warfare. It is how the Elohim or the gods speak. It is a spectrum. I always believed, and we were taught like in whether it was the 5% Nation teaching, Zulu Nation, we were always taught, a lot of elders told me back in the day that we were to look at hip hop as a gift that the elders gave us to speed up our intellect. And And I do think that's what it was, because how young dudes got so creative writing rhymes. I mean, just look at the talent you have to have. Look, I remember we be in school with the pencils, making beats on the desks, and just freestyling. Or you look at what DJs did with vinyl. They literally could put a track together with other people's records.
Yeah.
It's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Break.
So I do think it was a gift from the elders, 100%. That's just my opinion. And I just think it was given. We needed it. I think it came at a time where there was a lot of shit going on in this country, man. You go back to the 80s, look, we had the crack epidemic, gang culture. I mean, there was just so much shit going on. Racism. I mean, how much shit we had? The Bernard Getz thing going on. You had Yusuf Hawkins, Tawana Brawley. I mean, if you go back to all the shit that was going on in the 80s and 90s, and then obviously Rodney King, I think if we didn't have hip hop as an outlet, this shit could have got ugly.
Yes, it could. Yep.
This shit could have got real ugly.
Exactly.
Let me just take a few more, man. Ultra Instinct says, check out the interview with Big Daddy Kane and Ghostface. I gotta check that one out.
Okay.
What platform was that on, Ultra? If you're still in here, I'll be interested to see that. Yeah, and Black Dot. Shout out to Black Dot. If nobody's ever read his book, Malik brings that up. Hip Hop Decoded is an incredible book. If you go back and read that, a lot of the shit that's going on with Diddy and a lot of these artists, Black Dot put that shit all out. I think that book came out in like, what, 06, 05?
Okay.
He talked about everything that happened with Diddy now. Black Dot was on top of that shit years ago. He exposed a lot of the shit that's going on in the industry. So
did Dr. York.
I know well about Dr. York. Trust me. Part of that movement for years before that all went down. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you got to understand, anybody that comes out, speaking some truth, they're gonna become a target. That's just the way it is. Exactly. The way it is. Young Finder says, if Satan doesn't exist, what do they mean by the music industry is satanic? Well, let me tell you this. First of all, there's a play on words. This is a very good question. Understand the word Satan means adversary. That's it, right? Now, we use this title. It could be taken from a religious context. And I think what they do in the music industry, now there are some people who are involved. It's like you can go back again to the metal bands. Like, let me use KISS for an example. Everybody for years, to this day, a lot of people think KISS is abbreviation for Knights in Satanic Service. And go look at a Gene Simmons interview, and he says that's not what it means at all. Now, this is important because he breaks down what it really meant, and it's some cornball name that has nothing to do with Satanism. And Gene Simmons says, we took it and ran with it because we knew it would sell records. And then they adopted the whole satanic thing where he drinks blood on stage. Yeah. Because that rumor started to swirl.
Exactly.
They ran with it. Go pull up Gene Simmons' interview on that. So I'm saying this to say, whether it's hip hop culture, and you brought it up earlier, this one too, and we brought it up earlier with Lil Nas X. I think they take that satanic thing. Now, some can genuinely be into it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It exists amongst the elite, the powerful, the politicians, yes. But I think some people run with it for entertainment and shock value. So I think it's a combination of both. But go ahead.
Yeah. Right. What was the saying? The greatest trick that the devil proved was that he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what the phrase was.
That's what the phrase was. That's right. So I think in situations like that, we gotta look at it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Right. I think Lil Nas X too. Like, didn't he come out with a line of sneakers that were like satanic? And
what was supposed to have blood in it?
On it. I mean, come on, stop.
Yeah. It's all controversy itself.
Yeah. Stop. Yeah. So again, you got to take it with a grain of salt. And then, what perspective are they coming from? When we say satanic, are we coming from, devil worshiping and from a biblical religion? It's just there's so many different perspectives to look at it. It's crazy.
Right. Are we talking about Shaitan? Are we talking about the Antichrist? What are we talking about here?
What are we talking about? That's kind of, you got to take it with a grain of salt. All right. Let me see. I wish I can get through all this stuff, man. There's a gang of shit here. It's just I don't want you guys to think I'm skipping you because I'm kind of pressed for time. Look, we're going to do another show. I know you guys got a lot in here about the Olympics, music. I appreciate all this feedback. Good stuff. But you know it's tough, man, when we do these shows. You guys are making a lot of comments on the transgender, the Olympic stuff. Xander Promeo says the Olympics are a Greek institution. You were saying a festival, and this is true, a festival and feast of Bacchus, the god of wine and festivity. Well, there's the connection to the Last Supper, 100%. Not the Last Supper, but they were using the correlation. They were similarities only, 100%. Another comment, real talk. Where does the music shit really stem from? Like, what's the history of this? Oh, that's a whole show in itself.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Just going to go through some of these real fast. What's up with the gay trans agenda they're pushing? I heard somewhere they're trying to destroy the divine feminine due to planet beings living in a feminine planet. Well, this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's systematic.
Yeah, it's systematic. 5 years from now, they don't want our kids to know what a man or a woman is.
Exactly.
That's the thing I'm trying to say. Why are we fucking up what nature dictates is supposed to be natural? That's my point. Okay? Now, what do you look? Reality moment for me was about 6-7 months ago. I got he's 10 now, but he was 9. And that commercial came on for RuPaul's show on MTV. And I don't sugarcoat anything from my kids. I tell them like it is. And my son turned to me and said, Daddy, that's a man dressed up as a woman, right? I said, absolutely. And I said, it's not correct. I said, they're a little bit confused on what they want to be. He said, well, I don't understand that. If you're a boy, you're a boy. If you're a girl, you're a girl. I said, exactly. Don't worry about that right now. It's a little complex, but understand you're a boy, you're a male. Okay. See, this is what's causing the confusion. Not so much for us as adults,
but for the generation coming up.
Now, for the young kids coming up, they're going to be confused because they don't know. Look, whatever just happened to the straight up just being gay, right? Because like when we came up, it was more discreet to the point, but you were gay and we knew you were just gay and you liked men or you liked women, and that was it.
That was it.
That was it. We left it at that. But now it's complex, transgender pronouns. It's just like, come on, man, it's just too much, man.
Yeah, they associated that whole thing right along with Black Lives Matter. Remember that?
Don't get me started on that shit.
Remember, they tied all that shit in. But just to go real quick, to go from where you're going, do you know that there is a thing now where they're trying to prove to everybody that the Disney movies that you watched never had Tinkerbell over top of the city and tapping the city with the wine. Right. Now they're telling everybody, Disney is even telling people that never happened. It doesn't exist.
Oh, stop. Come on, man.
They're trying to tell people that does not exist. Because if I can get you to believe that doesn't exist, I can get you to believe anything. Like that. Now, you know, like what we know, I got VHS tapes to show you that that's the case. But they're telling the generations that never happened.
Look, cancel culture doesn't work. Look, you could take now all the Confederate statues you want. You could take Aunt Jemima off the syrup bottle. That doesn't change anything.
Don't change nothing.
Okay, that stuff needs to remain so people can learn from it.
Amen.
Okay, so erasing it, pretending it doesn't exist, and that's the problem. Everybody wants, like I always said, if you look at comedians like you take Eddie Murphy, Red Fox,
oh my
Richard
God,
Pryor,
they can never
George
exist
Paul,
today.
They would have got camped. They couldn't even
got killed today. Yep.
They would have got destroyed. But how did we go from that? This is my whole point, to show you. And it's different for some of us our age. Some of you younger folks may not get it because some of you guys that were born in the last 15, 20, 25 years, you're not going to fully get it. And I understand why. But we've lived through the transition. And I look at a comedian like Eddie Murphy's comedian. If like that was out today in 2024, forget it. Richard Pryor, forget it.
Oh my God.
It just wouldn't work. It's just because we live in a society now where you got to walk on eggshells.
It's so sensitive.
Everybody's sensitive. You can't say anything about sexuality and gender. And look, I just want to make this clear and put it on for the record, right? I'm not homophobic. I have nothing against gays and transgenders. Exactly. But I have my own personal values and principles I stand on. And I've said this before. If my son came home to me one day and said he was gay, I'd be honest with him. I don't agree with it, but he's my son. I still love him. I respect him. And I'll find a way, to deal with that. I think we're afraid to stand on our own personal. You don't have to agree with them. They're personal, right? And look, that's fine. That's okay. It's just to each his own. And look, whatever your sexual preference is, that's your damn business. Whatever you do in your bedroom, that's your damn business. But when it comes out into the open and they're trying to jam it down our throat, that's when I got a problem. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
No doubt.
Okay. All right. Listen, folks, man, there's a gang of shit here. I can't get to all this. We'll literally be here till 1 o'clock in the morning. I just ain't got that kind of time right now. No, but I do listen. I do appreciate everybody's feedback, support. I'm sorry I couldn't get to everybody's questions. We will do another show. I definitely want to get you back here. This one, with Taj, that'd be awesome. Appreciate the feedback. So, having said that, some closing comments, brother Taja. You want to give some closing comments? We'll wrap this up.
Nah, I think it was a great show. I want to try for us to be more consistent. You know what I'm saying?
No, 100%. I agree.
Just in, I think it's just a value in what we do. You know what I'm saying? And what we bring in, and it's nice to explore, these topics and these, points of view on things. You know what I mean?
I agree, because I don't think anybody's going to talk about it on this level personally. And we have the liberty. I just think we're being honest, straight to the point. And again, I want to say this: you don't have to agree with everything we're saying. We don't expect you to. We'd be fools to think that everything we're saying you agree with. So we don't want you to believe, accept, and go along with what we're saying. Have your own opinion, express it. We can all agree to disagree as mature adults. But I do think they're going to agree with a lot. But go ahead, bro.
That's it. It's just, I think that it's a good forum, and I'm looking forward to just doing what we do for the rest of the year. Anybody out there, you guys said that somebody was on earlier that made a comment, who I think was an artist or producer, whatever. Like, for the artists and producers out there, submit your music, please. You know what I'm saying? Because we want to, we want to check you out. We want to hear you. We want to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's
we
it.
need to get back to that, having the features, and we brought some of them on. Yeah, if you're making music, we also want to use this platform. Yes, if you're an artist that's making music in line with what we do, I'm just going to be honest. Don't send no dropping it like it's hot trap music. I just want to be real. We're not going to really showcase that. That's not really what the show is about. I just want to be straight up. But yes, if you're making music in line with what we're doing on this show, it don't have to be completely all about consciousness, but if it's something,
just original good music. That's all.
And then we, like we've done before, we've had a few on, and we'll come on and for an interview. We'll talk with you about your music, play your music. So yeah, send it in if you got some submissions. 100%. Anything else?
Yeah, but that's all I got, Benny.
All right, appreciate it. This one, some closing comments.
Nothing but keep it in the direction it's going. You know what I mean? I'm glad you had me here.
I appreciate you coming.
Be here more often. You know what I mean?
Cool. All right. Nah, that's cool. Definitely get this one back on the next one. We'll try to do like we were doing once a month. I know we haven't been sticking to it, but I'll make a better concentrated effort. You just put it together, Taja. You send me like you did the promo and all that, and then we'll go ahead and promote it, and we'll try to aim for beginning early of next month to do the episode. All right. That's about it. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, thanks to this one coming by Brother Taja for producing, putting the show together. Always appreciate it for him doing that. And all you guys, look, we'll get to your stuff. I appreciate the feedback. That's what I want. I want you guys to get involved to the dialogue. Maybe next time we'll try to stop a little earlier and try to dialogue with you guys. And what we can do, we have the ability on this to bring people in live. If you want to come on live and ask a question, maybe we'll open up the floor to bring some people in live. All right. Well, other than that, I appreciate you guys. You guys be safe. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll talk soon. All right. Peace.
Peace.